At 2:13 a.m., a nationwide telecom network went dark. Millions lost service. Emergency lines failed. Airports stalled. And at the center of it all was a teenager sitting in a bedroom. So how did a single teenager bring down a telecom giant? This wasn't a foreign cyber attack. It wasn't a rival corporation. And it wasn't an act of sabotage in the traditional sense. The telecom company powered entire countries. Governments depended on it. So did hospitals, banks, and air traffic systems. What followed would expose a fragile truth about modern infrastructure, one that no amount of money could fully protect. This is the story of how a teenager brought down a telecom giant. The company had spent decades building its network, hundreds of thousands of towers, millions of miles of fiber, security teams monitoring traffic around the clock. Outages happened. Storms caused failures, construction crews cut cables, but nationwide collapses were almost unheard of. Until this one. The teenager wasn't a criminal mastermind, they didn't work for a competitor, and they didn't start with malicious intent. They were curious, obsessive, and unusually skilled. Most nights were spent online, reading technical forums, studying documentation never meant for public eyes. Not to steal, not to destroy, just to understand how things worked. It started with something small, a misconfigured system, an overlooked testing interface, the kind of thing most people would never notice. But to the right eyes, it was a door. Not into customer data, not into billing systems, but into the network's control layer, a part of the system designed to manage traffic, routing, and stability. A place where commands weren't questioned as long as they looked correct. And the teenager learned how to make them look correct. The system trusted anything that spoke the right language, and the teenager learned how to speak it fluently. Commands meant for internal diagnostics were sent remotely, quietly, carefully. At first, nothing broke, which made it even more dangerous. A small regional node was reset, just to see what would happen. Phones dropped service for a few seconds, then came back online. No alarms were triggered, no engineers responded. The system assumed it was routine. That's when curiosity turned into momentum. More commands followed. Larger nodes, more traffic rerouted. Each action confirmed the same thing. No safeguards stopped it. No human approval was required. What the teenager didn't fully understand was how interconnected everything had become. One reset triggered another, then another. Redundancy failed, fallback systems collided, and suddenly the network began collapsing under its own complexity. Within minutes, millions were offline. Emergency services lost connectivity. Transport systems stalled. Engineers scrambled to respond, but the damage was already done. The telecom company launched an internal investigation immediately. Logs were pulled, access paths traced. The commands didn't come from overseas. They didn't come from competitors. They came from a residential internet connection. When authorities arrived, there was no escape plan, no attempt to hide. Just a teenager, stunned by the scale of what had happened. They hadn't intended to break anything. They hadn't imagined the consequences. The company faced lawsuits, government scrutiny, public outrage. Systems were shut down and rebuilt, access models rewritten from scratch. And the teenager became a case study, not of malice, but of vulnerability. Security wasn't just about hackers anymore. It was about assumptions, about what systems trusted and who they trusted. Because the greatest risk wasn't brute force, it was curiosity meeting complexity. We like to believe our largest systems are unbreakable, that size equals safety. But sometimes, the smallest actor can expose the biggest weakness. Because in a connected world, power doesn't always come from authority. Sometimes it comes from understanding. And sometimes, all it takes is a teenager to bring everything down.